relationship therapist. And in this live, I wanted to talk about i- golden showers, or which is uh, being aroused over people urinating during sex, and coprophilia, which is being aroused over pooing during sex. So obviously, wee and poo are natural bodily functions that we have to do to survive. And some people can get off on it, and it can get off on being, it's called a golden shower if you urinate on someone, um, and they get aroused over the urination on their body or whatever. Some people also like to drink the urination as well. Um, and coprophilia, similar, like some people like to watch people poo, and maybe smear it all over their bodies, and they get really aroused over it. So why is this? Because obviously wee and poo is something that you need to get rid of. Feels, sorry, I've just got a comment. Star Wars Ruse says it feels nice and warm weeing. That is. Well, yeah, that is true. I mean, I don't know if you're into it, Star Wars, really, like having, a golden shower over you. I will be honest. I've done that before. I've done it a couple of times. I've done it once with my current partner. We just, tried it, and I did it in Australia as well. But I weed on the person in Australia, and in when I did it with Marcus, we kind of just we did a bit in the shower, just, weed on each other's skin. But I don't, I've never done anything sexual with poo, because to be honest, poo does not, I mean, I didn't really personally get off on the weeing thing, but I just wanted to try it, see what it what it was like, sort of thing. Um, and but the pooing thing really doesn't do anything for me personally, because it stinks and it creates a mess and everything. But as I've said before, I work on sex adult sites, and I got approached today twice about weeing. Um, what? So one, I've been approached before about men wanting to watch me wee. I got approached today about wanting to watch someone wee, and they then wanted to drink it, and they get off on that whole process of being watched weeing and then drinking it. So there's a whole thing around it. Some people, like some men, just want to watch me wee, and I don't. I have been asked if I drink it. I've done, I have drank a little bit of my wee before when I've been really drunk and done silly things with people when I was years and years ago, because I'm quite explorative in that way, and I'm not afraid of talking about what I've done. I know I'm being very public about this. But why do people get off on it? Why is that? Because it's something that your body's getting rid of. So why would you sexually be aroused over it? So why I've explained before, everything that you are sexually aroused by, and in fact everything that motivates you in life, will go back to your childhood. So you are born a sexual being. It doesn't just occur in puberty. It's right there in the womb, and there's loads and loads of evidence that should suggest this. Um, One of the very concrete evidence that suggests it is this: they have actual scans of babies in the womb looking like they're masturbating. Now, a baby doesn't think I'm masturbating right now while it's in the womb. It's just exploring its body, and the genital areas of any human being or any animal are highly sensitive. So when a baby or a child is exploring that, they're just feeling it sensitive, but it will create sexual arousal. They won't understand it in the way an adult does, but they will feel sexual feelings from it. Now, obviously, wee and poo comes out of your sexual organs. Wee especially comes out of your penis or your vagina, and you know, your anus is can be sexualized as well. So when you're learning to be potty trained, for example, or if your mummy is changing your nappy and all your very young baby, all of these things, especially before you can speak, will go deep into your subconscious, and it sort of maps who you are as an adult. Now your brain may not consciously remember any stuff, possibly. What? Why? Is that why? Sorry, Star Wars Ruse put why. I don't. What? Why to what question? Sorry. What? So when you're sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. Basically, yeah, if your mummy's changing your nappy, you've done a wee or a poo, she's giving you attention, or your daddy or a caregiver's changing your nappy, they're giving you attention, you will remember that. Now you might not consciously remember it, but subconsciously it will be there in your brain. It will be there forever. You do not forget anything, but you consciously forget things, but subconsciously and emotionally you remember absolutely everything. So to enjoy sex, you have to feel safe and attended to. Now, if you are getting attention at times when you're weeing and pooing and you're a small baby, you will you could easily code sexual arousal around weeing and pooing, and it can be very common. Now, it can be taboo in our society because obviously it's seen as an excrement. It's seen as a thing your body needs to get rid of. So when people feel aroused by people can feel a bit ashamed, and it's a taboo topic. But it is actually, when you understand the psychology behind it, it can actually make a lot of sense why certain people can get aroused by it, because it's all, when you're being trained, or your parents are changing your nappy or whatever, you're getting a lot of attention at that time around weeing and pooing. So you could easily code at that time, oh, weeing and pooing is what gives me attention. That is love. Love is sex. And then later on you get sexual arousal because you need to feel safe to enjoy sex. Now, each person will have a different, that's quite um, a general kind of idea, really. But each person will have a kind of different way that they process that, and they've coded it. For example, you could sometimes it's through shock. So because you can want attention. You see, as a child, you want a lot of love and attention, and you can code attention as love, like being told off, or being kind of this. If you're told off, that you can code that as love. Now, if you were say, for example, when you're a small child and your parents are teaching you to potty train, and you're weeing a lot all the time, or pooing a lot in places, and then they tell you off because they're wanting you to learn to wee or poo in the potty. You're getting attention from them through that experience. Now, um, the it might not be positive attention, it might be negative attention, but if that's the only bits of attention that you're getting, and it's kind of sporadic when you get positive attention and you feel like you get more negative attention, it can quite easily code onto, so you could end up coding something shocking like weeing and pooing as a sexual arousal because you've got attention when you did it at that young age. Now I don't know if that makes sense because it's a bit of a uh, it's a bit arduous, it's a little bit complicated, but it's basically whatever you get attention over, you could easily code a sexual desire or a behavior that motivates you because it's where you've thought, I've learned love from this behavior. So it's, and this is how people can be motivated to do dysfunctional things, what we class as dysfunctional things in life, because they've been given attention when they were a small child about that, around that kind of behavior. And especially when it happens before you learn language, it goes in very deep, because before you can learn language, you're literally just feeling everything. Now your emotional mind and emotional body literally remembers everything, and that is what triggers your behavior, is your emotional setup kind of thing. So if you before you learn language, you can't process what that information is saying. So you can't work out, for example, oh, this is a naughty thing, I should well, you can sort of work it out, but you can easily think this is love because I'm getting told off about like weeing up the wall or whatever. And if you don't understand language, that your brain will easily think that's love, and it will code it very deep. And it can take, if there's any, not just weeing or pooing, but any type of behavior that you're doing that you feel embarrassed or ashamed of, then it can take sometimes a while to really unpick it, because we're habitual creatures and we kind of want to fall into those old habits, and an old habit can die hard basically, but it is possible. But what I would suggest with the weeing and pooing thing, if it is something that you enjoy, that you get off on, I personally think as long as you do it with a consenting adult and it's all set up correctly, and they're happy to engage in that process, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just more about, if you have shame with it, that's the problem. So I would always encourage things like this that maybe seem from society's perspective a bit taboo. As long as you are um, practicing these things with a consenting adult, and you've set up boundaries, and you've got a place to practice this, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think you should just embrace that part of yourself, because if you don't embrace it, it can come out in very shocking ways, and it can lead to dysfunctional behaviour, which I have experienced before. I can tell you something that happened to me on one of my webcamming sessions. So one of a client asked me if he could go to the toilet while he was on the web camera. And I said that's fine, because I really understand all of this. I don't see a problem if he wants to go to the toilet. I think he wanted to take a poo. Yeah, he said, "Can I take a poo while we're online?" And I said, "Yeah, that's fine." So he wanted to pay me to watch him take a poo. And so when he came through on the webcam, he was in his bathroom, and I could see the toilet like just by him. and I thought he was going to sit on the toilet, like, and because I think he was doing it through his phone. I thought he was going to take a seat on the toilet and do the poo, and I was going to, offer him therapy about why he's into it, because because the way he typed, he seemed to have a bit of shame around it. Anyway, he's kind of it all sort of happened really quickly. He kind of said, "Okay, are you ready?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I thought he was literally going to sit on the toilet. And what he did, somehow, like, he set up his phone, so he turned his ass kind of to the camera, so I could literally see his ass hole, his bottom hole. And I've never seen anything like this in my entire life, right? I saw this poo, I couldn't believe it, shoot out of his bottom and, and completely land all up his wall. His walls were white, and it was like this explosion. I'm laughing about it now because it looked funny and I was shocked by it. It was like this explosion that just came out of his bottom, and I've never seen anything. It was like a projectile poo, and I've never seen anything like this, like, in my life. And then he was like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I thought, because some people, I honestly thought he was going to do it in the toilet, and then when he did it in on the wall, I thought well, some people like get off on doing that, like pooing on things, and then they like cleaning it off. These are all different fetishes people have. So I thought that's maybe what he planned. He planned, like, to just do this in that sort of way, because he didn't say, he didn't tell me what he was going to do. I didn't have time to say, well, are you gonna clean it off? Are you gonna be happy after you've done that? Like, it's gonna smell and it's gonna be a massive mess. He didn't. He just did it, and I assumed he was gonna do it in the toilet. So then he's like, "Oh, what do you think?" I said, "Well, it's fine if that's what you want." And then he kind of he kind of sort of like masturbated, and he said, "Oh, is it okay to masturbate?" I was like, "Yeah, if that's what you want to do." And then he masturbate. I said, "What do you want?" He asked me, because the thing here is I was trying to help him break down the shame he has around the pooing thing, and I thought he was then going to go. After he'd finished the masturbation, because obviously I work in uh, unconventional way to the average therapist. After he finished the masturbating, I was then going to go through the therapeutic side and the psychology of it. So I said to him, why don't you masturbate? Because I thought he wanted this to and ejaculate on the poo. And literally it within two, like, he masturbated like 1, 2, 3, and then he like come and he came on the poo, and he was like, "Oh wow!" And then he ended the call, right? And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I messaged him. I said, "Are you okay?" And then he said, "Oh my," he sent me like, "Oh my god, what," he put, "What the f was that?" And I was like, "Well, I really understand this if you want me to go through this with you." And he said, he then sent me some abuse. Like, he said, "You made me do this." And I was like, "Well, no." I said, I didn't. It all happened really quickly. He said, "It stinks. I can't believe I've done this. It stink. Like, you're just." He was really rude to me, right? And I ended up having to report him and go through this whole procedure, right? But the thing here is that this is how, if you don't practice this, I think he was also drunk. I think he said, because I couldn't really hear him properly on the camera as well. Um, the thing here is, my point is that if you don't practice these things in a consensual way, and you give yourself a space to allow that kind of behavior to occur, in a safe way with a consenting adult, then it will come. It could easily come out in a dysfunctional way when you're drunk and you haven't set things up properly, and you just do this whole thing and then you regret it afterwards. So my advice is always to practice things in a consensual way, because then and set it up, give yourself a safe space to practice this if you want to, and it's something that you need to do as part of your sexual energy, basically. So that is always my advice with all things, but especially something like weeing and pooing, because it can create a mess. And people there are people who understand it like myself. So, and some other, you can find other partners who do actually get off on it as well. I don't know if anyone has, sorry, that's quite a long one today. I don't know if anyone has any questions for me about this, or related topics to do around this. I can answer some questions if you've got any. I'm actually near this beautiful tree here. It's so amazing. I love it. The energy is so grounding as well. It's so calming. But if you haven't, I'll show you the tree. If you haven't, I'll just oh, don't know if you can see. Oh, it's so lovely. It's like right stretched out. It's just so amazing. Ooh. So if you haven't got any questions for me today, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it's given you some information, some food for thought. Yeah, and you can, if you're interested in the work I do and the way I work, because obviously I've had a lot of positive experience because of the way I work, because because I work in an unconventional way, and I'm happy to sexually perform and be naked with my clients. It helps get to the root of issues a lot quicker. So, and I've found this. I've worked with over 1,000 men so far, so I have got quite a lot of positive feedback. But it also can be triggering for some people as well. So, yeah, if you've got any questions or anything, please, you can drop me an email, or before I go, if you've got any questions, you can write it in the text box of this live. But if not, I will speak to you all very soon. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all, and namaste. Bye. Oh, I've just got a stars from Bob's your uncle. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I'll speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye.